Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It's Therapy Thursday here on Best Show Ever here on 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia. Man, a lot to get to today once again, and I got to tell you, the anxiety is at an all-time high. Let's start with the word of the day, and the word of the day is reward, because last night the Flyers, later on today the Sixers, pretty soon the Phillies. It's going to be a risk versus reward situation, and the risk is fine as long as the reward pays off. And the Flyers last night got what some people thought was the second best player in all of the draft. Now, Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, Montreal, and Arizona did not think that. But many scouts outside of the NHL did think that Michkov was the second best player in the draft, and they take him 7th overall. My really concern is, one, does he ever actually get to come over here? Not because of his talent, not just because of the 3-year KHL deal, but because of the geopolitical issues over there. I have some real concerns about this young man. There's stories out of Russia about his father, which are very unfortunate. No kid his age should have to go through rumors or anything like that about his father. This is serious stuff. This isn't like, oh, is the player going to have to take too long in the minors, or is he going to go to college? This is serious stuff, and I don't think people have put into the equation how big the risk is. But no one will care if in 2030 or whatever it is, because, I mean, he's not any close, and he's not going to be playing here anytime soon. But whenever 2030 comes around, if he's scoring big goals, no one's going to care. The reward may be worth it, but it was a hell of a risk.
I love it. I'm giddy as hell today. Danny Briere with a big splash at 7 overall. I'm stoked. And he's on the same timeline as any other prospect. Cutter Gauthier is playing 2 years at Boston College. He'll probably play a year with the Phantoms too, which then makes him 3 years out of his draft class.
Which I find gross.
Listen, I don't even disagree with you there.
Gross.
I'm just basing it off of the nature of the sport, and this is how the prospects are handled. They baby them. They give them time to develop. They give them time to grow. So Michkov is doing exactly what all these other top prospects do. He just happens to be playing professionally overseas. If you're not familiar with hockey, this is equivalent to LaMelo Ball playing overseas and being super young, going up against grown men, and that's where Michkov is in his career. He's that filthy. I mean, he's one of the best prospects out there. He slipped because, one, apparently he did not respond to Arizona's phone calls at all, and he completely breezed them because he wanted to go to a big market.
But what about Anaheim? That's a big market. San Jose's a pretty big market.
It's not a hockey market, though. And he made it very clear he wanted to go to a hockey market. The
Montreal's
Flyers,
not a hockey market.
And go look at how Montreal's reacting today. They are pissed. I'll say this. The Flyers shut down the Flyer skate zone on a few days ago and secretly brought him and his family into the facility and had a huge dialogue with him. I think they went through the proper protocols. This wasn't just some let's completely throw something at the wall and see what it sticks. I think it was detailed. It was planned. This was number one on their draft board heading into the draft. I'm believing in it. I like it.
2.
I think he'll be here.
There's no way he's number 1.
I think he's going to be here. I think he's definitely going to be here. 2 years. I'm going to say after 2 years, he's here. And not necessarily straight to the NHL. They might throw him on the Phantoms for a few months. But he will be up by the third year. By the third year, he will be up in the NHL scoring 30 a year to start with.
30 a year.
He's Michkov. Yeah, there's no way he's not scoring 30 a year.
Hell of a risk. I can find another guy. I
By
think
the way, second
overall,
best player in the draft. Do we agree with that?
I don't agree with that. The reason I don't agree with that is he didn't go second overall. Maybe he's the second best. How do I know? For me to believe he's automatically the second best player, that is for me to then believe that Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, Montreal, and Arizona are all stupid.
Arizona, forget about it. They shouldn't be drafting anybody.
I don't know if they're all stupid, so I'll find out if he's the second best player in the draft. According to what I saw, he's 7th best.
That's what I saw. Against that. I like that they went out and got a guy like this. I mean, the guy's already playing professional.
I'm very concerned about his availability.
You also don't have not every team has the luxury. For example, Fantilli is more of a let's go play right now guy. Columbus gets a guy who's getting thrown into a team that just got Johnny Gaudreau, who made some big splash. It has Werenski there. They don't have a window like Danny Briere can to say, I got 3-4 years to kick back and let this thing happen. There's GMs who are going to get fired if they don't don't get this right now. They don't have the time. So that plays a role in some of those picks leading up to the 7th overall
and you absolutely
selection.
skip Arizona because who knows what the heck they are right now. They don't even have an arena.
He wasn't even the first Russian player. I don't know. I hope. The scouts said the non-NHL scouts had him ranked very high.
He was the second Russian player because the Coyotes took 2 others.
So, well, I'm just saying, I want to be as on board as you guys are. I love the Flyers. In fact, I make an argument I love the Flyers more than most. Here's the difference. I love them enough to be honest with them. And if you're telling me this is such a slam dunk, why was he there at 7?
Russia.
Not at 4.
Russia.
Not
I
at
agree.
3.
I
at
agree with
7.
Hunter. It's
Russia.
because he's from Russia.
And you talked about it yesterday, that some of these teams are probably going to have that question in the back of their head, and he might fall. And that's
Maybe
what
they
happened.
didn't go as in-depth as the Flyers seem to have.
Or that's one way to look at it. We can't rule out what if the Flyers weren't as in-depth. We
No,
can't
they were
just,
the most in-depth
We
with
can't,
it.
just because you talk to his family, that don't mean you know what's going on in Russia.
No one else did. No one else got the communication that the Flyers did prior to even going to Nashville yesterday.
I hope that the kid's great. I'm just saying. It seems like y'all aren't even acknowledging that there's a risk there.
There is a risk.
A large risk.
I think
a
it's mapped
larger
out.
than average risk.
I think they mapped that out prior. This wasn't a blind faith thing. I think they went through the proper protocols to see if this was worth it. This isn't just, hey, I hope it pans out and he fell. This was a methodical draft for Danny Briere and Keith Jones.
Wait a minute. If you see this is where I'm not understanding y'all. You guys said that you think he's the second best player.
Yes.
Is it methodical at 7 to draft the guy you guys see? I don't know if it's methodical. Then you trade up and you
Exactly.
And there were no trade up.
And they tried to.
There were no
Travis
trades for the
Sanheim,
whole first round.
They literally went through a whole entire. The reason why they were trading Sanheim and bringing back Torrey Krug's contract is to get a first-round pick, which would give them 3. They were going to utilize 7 in this pick to go up and get Michkov, but the board started to fall because the number 2 overall pick threw everything in for a loop, and then here we are. So that was absolutely their plan. Nashville and Barry Trotz tried to move up to get him. The Washington Capitals, who we know love their Russian players, tried to jump the Flyers to get him. It was all there, but it worked out in their favor, similar to how Howie Roseman was able to sit there and get Jalen Carter.
They got the player they wanted.
It is.
It's not similar to Jalen Carter.
It's exactly it.
Jalen Carter was a person who drove too fast. This is dealing with real geopolitical issues, and you're slumping it off like this was a ticket.
But that's
this
why he
is not
fell.
a ticket.
That's why he fell.
This is not a ticket.
I'm not saying it's a ticket.
You kind of are. You said
No.
you literally just said it's the exact same thing as Jalen Carter. I would say no.
Well,
to
I'm
that.
saying in regards to him falling, he fell because of the way certain teams viewed what was happening with this player. This happens to be Russia. He fell in their laps. They took one of the best prospects this season has, this draft has.
I think it's a good move.
I love it.
It's not a terrible comparison, though, either.
It's a horrible
I don't
comparison
think it is.
in that Jalen Carter, if he stays out of a car, is fine. There's a lot that Michkov can do right, and it still go bad because of his actual real-life situation.
I get that.
To
I
me,
get
you guys
it.
are comparing apples and car engines, space shuttles and submarines. I think you guys are all over the place with the comparisons of Jalen Carter. I think it's disrespectful to the things that almost happened last weekend in Russia this past weekend.
Then no Russian player should have been able to get drafted this
Why?
weekend.
Because not
then
all of them
they're all
have
stuck.
the same. They don't all have the same situation.
Because I understand where
Not all.
he's
They don't
coming.
all have the same situation.
Are any of those other Russian players in America right now? Like in the United States? Or are they all in Russia?
No, they were all here.
They were all here.
All of them that got drafted.
Some of
were
them
here.
will be able to stay here.
Right,
Some
okay.
won't.
Yeah, I guess that ultimately that's my question.
And I'm saying that if this was the normal thing and you knew where the player was going to be developing, then I'm all on board on it.
I
Notice,
hear you.
I have said nothing negative about the player's talent.
Yeah.
But I think the mistake that many are doing is taking the Flyers' word about something that the Flyers have no actual say on. What's going on in Russia is way bigger than any league, way bigger than any of us, way bigger than anything any sports league can have anything to do with. And I just think that he has to come over. He can't come over and just be a guy.
No.
If you're taking this kind of risk, the reward has to be star player.
And he
He
is.
is.
No. He's a star NHL player.
Yes.
He hasn't skated one game. We don't know
Potentially.
yet. We don't know
That's
yet.
what
Potential
he's
star.
projected
I'm
to
saying
be.
You don't know if Connor
Reward.
Bedard's going to be a star. He's projected to be a star.
Right. And you know what?
So what's the difference?
He's going to be, I'll tell you the difference. He'll have 100 and some goals in his career before Michkov plays a single game here. He'll have over 100 goals in his career, most likely, before we see one game of him.
But that's the outlier, because most kids do take 2 to 3 years before getting this jump. So Michkov being that, playing professional hockey as a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid and then coming over here to the NHL, that's the norm. The norm, is playing for a couple years prior.
And I would love that. And I'm rooting for it. I want it to happen. I'm just saying that when people do the risk-reward, everybody's focused on the reward. It seems like yesterday on social media, today, no one's looking at the risk part. And if we don't acknowledge that part, I don't think we're being fair.
There is a risk. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you about a risk. I just think it's going to get worked out. I really do. I have that feeling.
You believe the geopolitical situation in Russia's going to get worked out? I don't know if that's going to get worked out ever. I don't know.
One way or the other, it gets worked out, whether it's a bad way or a good way.
Yeah, I don't. Regardless of how it gets worked out outside of this player coming here to play hockey, I don't know. But in regards to this player coming here to play hockey, I have faith that the Flyers did their proper homework on this.
I'm not saying that they just closed their eyes and just pointed. I just believe that the Jalen Carter thing could be mitigated by talking to a lot of people in America about what happened at Georgia. Now we've come to find out that Georgia's had about a dozen more players arrested for reckless driving, and they have a culture problem at the University of Georgia where they drive fast.
Yeah.
And that's after someone passed away. It's still a culture problem down at that school. So now there's a bunch, everybody at that school's getting tickets. They're all driving too fast. I think this one is more complicated.
I see what you're saying.
I agree with that.
If you draft an American player, there's only one door to open and close. You go over and get a Russian, there's 15, 20 doors that you have to go through.
Swedish, Finland.
Yeah.
I'm saying that
because of where they are right now politically.
And the 3 years.
Yeah.
So it might have some ups and downs in between now and him coming over that the Flyers would have no control over whatsoever. It's not that the Flyers, I'm saying, are going to cause a problem. I'm saying that this could possibly be a problem far larger than the Flyers could be. And what I want is a star player.
You have it.
I want a star NHL player.
You have it.
Playing for the Flyers.
I think he's got the talent.
All right.
3 years.
Oh, I hope so. And now time to start our Twitter poll with Jen Scordo, who is really likes to ease people's anxiety.
I try to.
Yeah.
All right. How do you feel about the Flyers' new winger, Matvei Michkov, and when he may be able to play? I gave you 2 answers. Mm-hmm. This is just hockey, or it's too risky. Right now, this is just hockey, winning at 93%.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
You're the minority, Tyrone.
I know. Everybody just thinks about the reward. I bet you a lot of people have not even thought of the risk, had not even considered the risk.
I did.
Not even considered.
And I'm sure Hunter did.
I did. I
don't know. Okay, I like to believe that you guys did. But what about this scenario, Hunter?
Hit me.
Your daughter's going to be born later this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it is.
Fast forward, kindergarten, 5th grade, promotion.
Happened so fast.
Enters middle school. You're not the cool dad, despite your greatest efforts. Now she's got a little clique of friends. Oh, my God.
Mr. Brody's so annoying.
And finally, here he is making his NHL debut after years of strife, and now he becomes a player that's from the distant past. That happens with certain players in hockey. That does happen.
All right, fine.
Spit the bit.
If he hits me with that, then what if he comes over in 3 years, and here he comes, the first game at the Wells Fargo Center, me and you were sitting in, section 104. The Flyers give us some nice tickets.
Yeah.
And he scores a hat trick, and here we are.
The hat trick on his first game?
First game.
Absolutely.
Now, and how old is he?
He's 21.
21 years old?
He'll be here at 21 after the 3-year contract.
He has a hat trick.
Hattie.
Oh, well, then it was great.
Okay.
Then it was great.
Okay.
It was great.
All right.
That wasn't even a terrible hypothetical, Hunter.
I was just going to say that.
Hold on.
It was like
it could happen.
It wasn't too much.
Okay, we got to look. Look at in the history of the NHL. How
game.
many players had a hat trick in their first ever game? I don't think it's that common. It's not that I don't like the player. And this is I know there's people out there like, I don't care about the Flyers. Just think this through. Think about any of your sports. Baseball, it takes a while, right, to get to it takes a while, right, baseball?
Yes. Yep.
It takes a while And in football, coming out of high school, it takes a while. So he's going to be the 8th player
That's right.
in NHL history to score a hat trick in his first game.
Austin Matthews was the last one.
Now, that's a hell of a player, that Austin Matthews.
And that's recent.
Yeah, very recent.
So we're ready to rock. We're
Now,
going to
how
follow it up.
long did it take Austin Matthews from draft day to first NHL
He
game?
was the first overall pick.
Well, this is supposed to be allegedly the 2nd overall pick.
He jumped right. Yeah, but it normally is that much of a difference where sometimes the number 2 overall pick doesn't see it in the first year. Hockey's weird, man, but he jumped right into it.
So that was it his in 2017?
Yes.
7 players have done it.
7
From
players.
2017, assuming that nobody else has done it, which we probably would have heard of. 7 players in the history.
Yeah.
He could be the 8th.
I hope he is. I'll get a jersey of his the moment he actually is ready to play in the NHL. The question is, I have salt and pepper going on now. Is it just salt?
In 3 years?
Is there any pepper left by the time he's playing, or is it just salt?
That's a good thing to check back on.
I'll give
3
you
years.
salt and pepper.
Because that's my concern, that all the other stuff that has nothing to do with hockey that caused him to drop to 7th, allegedly, that those are the things that keep him from playing here. And then I don't love the pick. I love the pick as long as he's going to play here in a timely manner.
What if one of those other teams in front of them picked him, and all of a sudden he's here in 2 years? Would you be upset that, or they went by the Flyers and the Flyers ignored him?
Capitals would have got them right after.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They loved him.
Maybe they loved him. I don't know. What I do know is that Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, Montreal, and Arizona, for whatever reason, didn't think he was the second best value in the draft. For whatever reason. We'll find out if they're right.
6/29/23. Remember that date.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, it could go either way. What I'm saying is that Bedard was going to be the first pick. There's no doubt about that. And then, if he's the second best player, and maybe he is, but what we do know is, because that's a maybe, we don't know that for sure until he plays. But what we do know is that Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, Montreal, and Arizona all decided no, for whatever reason. And that just makes me evaluate it a little bit more.
You just feel like they weren't comfortable enough to go after this guy.
I believe.
I mean, I understand. I can see where you're coming from. I see it bright and clear. It's clear.
If every scout likes him around the entire league, around the whole world,
I would say there
and
was
he
probably
doesn't
no
go
doubt
second,
about that.
third, it must be for the geopolitical stuff. And then if they're afraid of it, then I'm afraid of it.
Okay, but I think that's fair. I really do. That's logical, and I'm not bashing that. I do believe, going back to the way the Flyers approached this draft, because it is so tricky, there was a lot of layers to this selection, and I believe, based off of me reaching out to people and getting some information, they went through the proper channels that maybe other teams didn't have the luxury of doing. Having someone boots on the ground who is a scout out in Russia and having communication with the family. I think they were able to get more details to the story than some of these other organizations, and maybe that's the difference that made the Flyers feel more comfortable.
That's very possible. That is also very possible. It's the risk-reward pendulum, and as long as you're on the right side of it, meaning, and he doesn't even, I'm joking about him having to be, Sergei Fedorov or Pavel Bure, although that's my bar for the Russian players.
I like that.
If I don't see a Fedorov or a Bure or better, I'm holding my nose when you go get a top guy.
If you were picking, how would you have done this?
I would not have.
I think I would have.
I would have Dalibor Dvorsky.
You would?
You
Okay,
would go to
Dvorsky.
the
Dvorsky would have been. No, he's a forward.
He's a forward.
I would have went with him.
Who was the defenseman?
Reinbacher.
Reinbacher.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
Carey Price messed
also,
that name up.
22nd overall, they take an Oliver Bunk right-handed shot. Now, Hunter, on the other side, we're going to start the phones. I know for a fact a bunch of people do not know why in the world a right-handed shot matters. But that was actually one of the selling points for that. There were very few top defensemen here that had a righty shot. So we'll explain that because I want to know, and I know a lot of people out there want to know. And then we're going to start opening the phones. We'll get to the Harden thing. The Phillies had a win. Nola gives up 2 more home runs. Whatever. We'll discuss that. I don't know.
17 already.
That's 30 in the majors.
He only gave up, 19 last year?
Yep.
Yep,
and he broke the streak of 6 innings, so 6 innings per start. So we're going to get to all of that today. What did they reward Boy, are we all excited about that 50-goal reward. I don't know how many of y'all are over there thinking about some of the risk in between now and then. And I'm not talking about a breaking a foot. I'm not talking about a knee injury. This guy might be who knows, maybe he's a 60-goal guy.
Wow.
In the KHL.
Oh, come on.
That's the thing. You don't know. It's just, I can't shake it. I've been wanting to shake it.
I know you do.
I've been wanting to shake it.
Yeah, you're Pucks. You're Pucks Johnson.
I want to be in, okay? I got the picks in front of me. I got all my stuff.
Yeah, you were tapped in last night.
I'm in there watching. At the same time, I can't help but just wonder if this climate is so toxic that it's a hell of a risk. That has nothing to do with hockey.
It is a risk. I can't run away from it. It is a risk. I just think they're going to get him over here.
It's always been a risk with Russian players.
But currently it's a low point right now.
I understand that, but you have to hope that dies down after a year or so, and then everything kind of falls back into place.
I hope so. And then maybe he could take a personal loan and get out of there a little sooner. If you told me,
I think he gets out of there in 2 years.
I can't. I think I don't know.
I'm not there yet. I lean 3. I've heard conflicting things about being able to get out after 2, and then I heard some things saying it's very difficult because NHL teams can't talk to KHL teams right now
because of the Ukraine situation
to buy out the contract.
That's the thing. This isn't like the posting period with a Japanese player. All right, if you had to wait on a guy, or if he was going to be playing in any kind of hell, if he got to just go play in Sweden or Finland or Canada or anywhere else, and he still wasn't on the Flyers, it's not the 3 years that bother me. It's the 3 years there. He's got to stay there for 3 years.
That sucks.
Not just play and develop for 3 years. Has to develop there. And I believe that the Flyers will have certain amount of communication with some of the other draft picks in between now and when they arrive on things they should work on.
For sure.
I don't know how much input they'll actually have over there.
I don't know.
Not that he won't be getting better because he's playing against grown men, and some people think the leagues are pretty close. So
you would think he would get better because he's going to get stronger.
Yeah, all of that. And his skill level still can get – your skill level gets better. You add to your bag. All that may happen. I'm worried about if it happens and now here's the time to come and now there's some strife and he can't come over.
That would suck.
And now, like I said, all of a sudden now he's got a lot of miles on the tread. You're taking your daughter to her first game in middle school. She did so well, 5th grade. Oh, Daddy, what do you want for your graduation gift from 5th grade? I want to go to a Flyers game. Next year, little lady, we're going to a game. And now he's coming over as a 30-year-old, a 30-goal-scoring guy.
And the only thing she has on is a Bonk jersey.
Because Bonk's been that dude now for the last 8 years.
Now, Mike tweets in at us and says, by the time he actually gets here, they'll be in Center City with the Sixers.
Oh, yeah. You'll be taking the Patco in from Jersey right there to the new arena in Center City. That's the concern, just so we're clear. Have I made it clear that it's not about the player?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not about the player. All right, let's open the phones. Oh, no, real fast. Righty shot. Why is that such a big deal with Oliver Bonk? Because a lot of scouts were saying that this was a big deal that the Flyers were able to get him there because of the righty shot.
Yeah, it's just important to be able to play on your strong side. So if you're playing with a left-handed defenseman, to have your 3 right, it's just important to have a right-handed defenseman because really, if you think about the angles when you have the puck on your stick and you're on your weak side, it cuts the ice off and it makes things more difficult the way you have to open up your body to make passes. So it really comes down to just being able to find that so you have it where you want to. Some players play offhand, so you have too many lefties, and now you have 5 lefty defensemen, 1 right-handed defenseman. It's not even. The ability to find a right-handed defenseman that could play top 4 minutes, it opens up the value there. So
yeah, because a lot of people were talking about that, how he was like the only one that was a righty shot, and they think that could end up even accelerating his pace to the big club.
Also on the power play, if you're at the top of the power play and you have 2 guys on the sides, it matters for their handedness. So whatever your roster's like, you can have someone on their one-time side on each side of you. If you're a right-handed defenseman, that kind of
easier to keep the puck in his zone.
See that people? We teaching people the game.
That's right.
In addition to the education, in addition to our acumen, speaking about geopolitical issues. Because, I mean, how many people in Philadelphia sports radio had spoke to the ambassador of Qatar at one time?
You did what?
Has ever spoken to the ambassador of Qatar?
With the soccer thing?
No, this was way before that.
I did not. I missed that conference call.
See?
That's unreal.
Not me.
See? You can get everything here.
That's right.
Blocking, old-fashioned blocking from Ricky Bubba.
Well, hold
You
on.
see how he jumped right in there?
He did. Now, if you could speak to him, can't you call Putin?
Hell no.
And be
What
like,
are
yo,
you, nuts?
be like, yo, dude, I need
That's
Mitch.
not-
and then he's not
the
in here tomorrow. We're
ambassador is
wondering
an
what's up.
American that's over there.
Well, why can't you call Putin and be like, yo, we need Michkov? I'm a Flyers fan. Just give him a buzz.
Dude,
Shoot him a
don't.
text.
Just don't.
Shoot
You
him
know
a text.
what? You know what? Listen,
Man of the people.
I don't know what's going on over there. I'll see if I can find somebody to make a phone call.
That's all I'm asking.
But I'm going to leave your number because I'm not going to have them hunting me down.
Hunter won't be here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not going to have them hunting me down.
Oh, I'm really not here tomorrow. Nothing's happening, though.
Yeah, this is your Friday.
Well, now we're talking like this. I'm going to not show up tomorrow, and people are going to be like, oh, my God, she talked to Putin.
Putin got her. Putin got her.
got
It could have been a
Goddamn.
storyline tomorrow, but she just destroyed us.
We
If
probably
we're
would-
being honest, don't you think Flyers fans would maybe sacrifice Jen for the sake of
Okay,
Michkov?
here's the bad part. No, here's the bad part. If you made that
I
a
hope
Twitter
not.
post, don't. They
No.
absolutely would sacrifice Jen.
I agree that
to
they
get him
absolutely
over
would.
here quicker and get him
Yes.
right on the Phantoms.
Yes. It's
I'm not
it's the right
suggesting
thing
it's
to
not
do,
the right thing to do.
but I know that Flyers fans would.
No,
There's some Flyers fans, if they
right.
knew
Don't
he
look
was
so
going to be the
shocked,
real
Ricky.
deal, if they knew he was going to be the real deal for sure, they sacrifice a relative.
I bet.
I'll buy her plane ticket.
Same thing. By the way, so would Eagles fans.
Oh, yeah.
Eagles fans would
say.
sacrifice an uncle for a guaranteed Super Bowl. They sacrifice like an uncle. Mm-hmm. It's not healthy to have that attitude.
No.
Like a uncle, as if it's a side
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm trying
like
to
an
go.
uncle.
I don't think they
I'll
would
throw in
sacrifice
my
their
uncle.
parents, but I tell you
Right,
what,
not kids or
their
parents.
dad's brother or sister. I think a lot of we take sports serious around here.
Aunt Barbara, if you're listening, don't worry about it.
You
All
wouldn't do that.
No.
Ricky's ready to ship me off, and you are
I
holding
just
on to
said
your
I'd
Aunt
buy
Barbara.
you the plane ticket. That's it.
You might make it back safe.
You might not.
I'll make sure it's round trip.
Thanks, Ricky.
I-
First class?
He's also gonna
That's fine because I'll only be paying one way.
Brittany Griner you. He gonna plant a vape pen in the luggage. you get
Couple
you get
gummies
him
in her
up.
shoes.
See, he's gonna hit me up. All right, let's open the
You're
phone.
my least favorite today, Ricky.
No, you'll be fine. We'll bail you out at some point.
Open the phone.
Out of Russia. Okay.
Bob in Houston. You're at 97.5 Fanatic. Hello, Bob.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, how are you?
Not bad. So first thing, after this phone call, I'm going to call Putin up, get this covered for you. All right, Tyler?
Work on it.
All right. Second, I just didn't think it was fair to say that he's no good because he was drafted in the seventh pick, so we got Nolan Carter in the 30th pick.
Well, different sports. No. What I'm saying is people said he's the second best player in the draft. What I'm saying is that 5 teams in between the first pick and the Flyers, for whatever reason, decided that he wasn't. So what I'm saying is I believe those things probably had nothing to do with his playing ability. That's my concern. My concerns have nothing to do with his playing ability.
Right, I didn't realize that earlier, but as I listened on, I was starting to realize that.
Yeah, like Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, Montreal, Arizona. For whatever reason, we don't know exactly the reason, they chose to pass on him. I don't think it's because he suddenly stinks at hockey.
Right. I mean, I just think you need to have a little bit of faith, you know?
I'm not telling you not to have faith at all. If you believe that everything's going to go smoothly, I hope that you truly are correct about this. And I mean that. I'm sincere. I'm a Flyers fan. I'm just saying that those concerns that those teams apparently had, because, again, I don't think he's a bad player, I have those same concerns. I hope that there's no issue. He does his, time in the minors, whatever it is. He scores from 20-some goals playing against those adults to 30-some to 50 that last year. He comes over here, he's ready-made. I truly hope that happens. But clearly, Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, Montreal, and Arizona weren't sure that was going to happen. That's really what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I'll add to that 3-year thing, though. If he is playing out the 3 years over in the KHL,
Yeah.
he doesn't spend any time with the Phantoms.
No, he's got to come right over. at that point.
I'm telling you right now,
Thanks for the call,
he's
Bob.
not spending any time with the Phantoms.
Well, we've seen those guys, once they get their man strength coming out of that league, because we also seen guys come over at 26. Like, if you get your man strength, they step into the NHL and generally don't have trouble holding their own. The physicality is similar. Ice is larger, but outside of that,
Didn't Yager come from there?
he was young.
And then
though.
he went back and played there again.
I thought he was an older player.
He
when
was.
came
He
back.
played both. I think both ends.
Yeah, I think that had to do with also lockouts and strikes and stuff like that. Yager, though, I think got here at 19.
Yeah, he was young.
I got to look it up. Yager was young.
And
when he
because
got
the
to
league is getting younger, similar to what we say with baseball, we see a lot of these guys get caught up 19, 20 years old. When he's 21, when that contract expires, it's an easier fit now because of, just everyone else starting to throw guys into the fire at 20, 21 years old, too.
We got a little update on sacrificing family. Now, Booney's joking, I believe, but he says he has 8 siblings. Take your pick for a title.
Wow.
I believe he's joking.
That's very un-Booney-like.
I believe he's joking.
You believe he's joking? Of course he's joking.
Well, I said that.
I hope he's joking.
Booney.
He's got 9. He's one of 9.
How do you feel about this, Booney? We value Booney's opinion.
I believe, I'm interested. I'm going to guess that Booney's on board with it.
I think so, too.
I believe that Booney's on board with it.
Sharp hockey mind.
Yes. Sportsman. Yeah. We only surround ourselves with sportsmen around here. If you're not a sportsman, we don't let you get near a microphone.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, we're like, I don't know. Not a sportsman? I don't know. All right, back to the phones. Chris in North Wales. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Hello, Chris.
Hey, folks. Tyrone, you're full on Negadelphia today. Let me help. Let me see if I can help a little bit.
I'm looking forward to you explaining to me all the great things about Putin. Go right ahead there, Chris. Can't wait.
I'm going to give it a shot. So, there's tons of Russian players in the NHL right now, correct?
There are.
There are tons of Russian players that go home during the off season, back to Russia. How many of those have not been allowed to come back?
How many of those have not since Saturday? None since Saturday.
Okay.
I'm concerned about since Saturday.
Yeah, since Saturday, no Russian hockey player has been denied the right to play in the NHL.
No, not since Saturday.
What are you worried about?
What am I worried about?
He's got a contract. He's over there for 3 years. The only thing you need to worry about is if he signs another contract in the cage.
Well, that's not the only thing that you need to worry about. I'm on your side that I'm excited about Michkov, and I think it's going to work out. But to just dismiss everything he's saying, you're acting like there's nothing there. There is a risk.
And what about the rumors? What about the real rumors about his father's unfortunate passing? That's a real thing that's out there. We can't just ignore that because that's a young man that had to deal with some real stuff that hopefully no other 18-year-old has to deal with. What about that part? You can't just dismiss that part. He's not the average Russian guy, obviously.
There's plenty of Russian players,
whose fathers have passed away doing suspicious ways that play in the league. I'm saying put it all in the equation, Chris, is what I'm saying, and then tell me it's okay.
I get it. But until that happens, there's no point in worrying about it. All I know is
you don't have to
know today, and what I know is Russian players play in the NHL. Russian players are allowed to play in the NHL as long as they don't have a contract in the KHL. He has one for 3 years. And incidentally, we're not seeing Cutter Gauthier, who's considered our top prospect, 2 years. So waiting an extra year, if that happens, isn't that big of a deal.
Okay, Chris. I get it. It's not a big deal to you. I don't like waiting the 3 years for Gauthier either. I don't like it.
It's like that every draft, though.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Though. So, but he's here and not under the Flyers' control.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's going to be 3 years.
It's not that big of a deal.
All right,
Until
Chris.
they stop preventing Russian players from playing in the NHL, I'm not going to lose sleep over.
There are 41 Russian players in the NHL.
Yeah, thanks for the call. So that's one and change per team.
Right.
Not like the roster's full of guys like that, but it's one or change per team. But Booty's point was he says the father's death in April is suspicious.
It is.
That and the geopolitical situation definitely gives me pause. That's what it's about. This is not about the player. But I don't understand how you could just try to treat this like he's the same with the unfortunate. I mean, that's some serious stuff that happened. Like, we're trying not to be, extra morbid. That's some wild stuff that happened in April. It's June.
It really is uncomfortable.
It's an uncomfortable thing that we can't just dismiss and go, it's fine. I'm a little scared of doing
and
that.
Chris did that. Chris did just dismiss it and pretend there's nothing to it. My counter is, I feel, and I know it's not some easy science. If it was as easy as this, then everyone would be able to find a way through Russia's issues right now. But I don't think the Flyers just took a flyer on a guy because he slipped. I think they really went through everything that they feel is right to make sure that they're comfortable with this pick.
There's got to be a protocol that they went through.
Exactly.
There has to be a step-by-step process that they went through to try to figure out when and if he could get here. There had to be. There's no way a team is throwing a number one pick, just throwing it away if they didn't think there was an opportunity for this guy to play in the NHL.
And
people have done risky things though for top talent for a long time.
Yeah,
People have done a lot of things for
maybe
top
they talked to
talent too.
Briz.
Say that again?
Maybe they talked to Briz.
Brizgalov?
Yeah.
Get Briz out of
I
here.
don't think he's answered the phone.
I've been hearing for months now, though, that they've been so high on him. I think that there's been a target. It's been highlighted. We are going to get him. And that's why the Sanheim deal was going to happen.
My only concern that goes with the Tyrone thing is that what if, because of all the unrest over there, they had not been able to get scouts over there, or they have not been able to see this guy even play?
Flyers do.
Flyers apparently have a scout on the
scouts
ground.
in Russia.
A scout. A scout.
One guy.
Well, I mean, a bunch of teams have none.
That's a lonely
Once
life,
stuff went
man.
down, a lot of guys got their guy the heck up out of there.
Right.
The fact that the Flyers have one might as well be a million because it's way more than a bunch of other people. So in that way, they had an advantage. That predates this regime. That goes back. That's probably one of the few things Chuck Fletcher may have done right was keep his guy there. I mean,
Risk a guy's life for the betterment of the prospect pool?
well.
Y'all already threw me away.
If the
Come
guy,
on.
I'm assuming the guy wanted to be there.
I would imagine.
I hope they didn't say, hey, stay over there, your kids don't eat.
Oh,
Well, I mean, that's how he pays his bills. It's a cruel world out here.
yeah.
Cruel world out here.
I know.
You know.
In here, too.
She's feeling sorry for herself. Don't do that. Don't let it go.
I tried to buy her a drink earlier. You
I jumped
intervened.
right.
in.
You intervened.
I offered
And now
dinner.
you're putting me on a plane to Russia.
See?
Well, I offered you dinner. You took it. I put you on the plane.
Sam and Wildwood Crest. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Hello, Sam.
Love the crest.
Yeah.
Hey,
What do you got for
Hello,
us,
Sam.
Sammy?
All I can say is, how long have the Flyers been irrelevant? Not today.
No, we've been trying to show the Flyers some love.
All right, let me ask you something, Tyrone. I have no clue who this Russian kid is. But having said that, would you, with a top 5 draft pick, take a 7-foot big man with a broken foot, will not play for you for 3 years?
He had a hurt back. He didn't have the broken foot when that happened. So don't.
Oh, he only broke it when he was in camp.
Yeah, and he also bent the screw on one of them. And also, we didn't know that ahead of time. I don't know what I would have done with Embiid if I had known for a fact he was going to have to sit for 2 years. Neither do you.
I don't.
Right.
And it's all across
But
you.
don't you think it's a bit disingenuous for you to try to compare Embiid to this? Like, there was no unrest with his foot and his back injury. There's no geopolitical issues. Like, why are you doing that, Sam? Come on, buddy.
You're worried about Russia. This, too, will pass. You got to be careful with umbrellas in Russia. That's all.
Well, I don't know. Is that a racist thing? I don't even know what that means. What I'm saying is, Sam.
Umbrellas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. What's that a euphemism for? I honestly don't know.
That's what Putin puts his pills in, his
We'll see.
poison pills, and jabs you in the back with.
Oh. What I'm saying is, see what I mean? A little bit all over.
And that comparison, once again, I'm on the side of I love this deal, but you're saying that and then acting as if that's the same as Joel Embiid having a foot injury. You know what I'm saying?
This is my point, Sam.
You got to take a chance. That's
No,
all.
you don't. No. What I'm saying
I
is,
agree with the chance.
hold on. Oh, like outside of Connor Bedard, who's kind of a can't miss, right? Are you suggesting that no other player is going to be great from this draft?
Van Tilly is.
Okay, so you're saying it right. Basically, the way Sam is saying is nobody else is going to be great. I don't know that to be true. And thanks for the call. And also, I'm talking about real life stuff. I'm not trying to bash. Well, first of all, the Russian Americans, absolutely not. Or even the Russian people. I'm talking about one dude who there's some wild stuff happening over there right now. Like it's on the news.
I can't give Jen that plane ticket after that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
After
in the
that,
garbage. I don't want you getting stabbed in the back.
thanks.
We can find a happy medium here,
Yeah,
right?
that's what it's about.
Can we find a happy medium?
Well, this was the point, the risk versus reward. And the reason this hasn't been productive enough is because people aren't trying to balance the risk. They're only looking at the reward.
But there is a risk. I mean, there's certainly a risk. I knew it, and I would have made that pick. I would have made the pick. I would have taken the risk.
And that I don't mind. It's when people go, It's the same as Joel Embiid having, at the time, a back injury.
There is no same to this. It's a completely different
That became
thing.
the foot and then all that stuff.
But it's just a completely different world we're talking about here.
Different kind of deal. I wish it was the same. Because then I'd be like, maybe over here, 50, 60. You know what it is? I don't think people realize. I want people, if you're not driving, to go to your Google machine. In your Google machine, I want you to type in Sergei Fedorov and or Pavel Bure. That's the kind of guy I'm looking for.
We got it.
So that's great. Also, then, since you have Google open another tab in your Google machine and type in the unrest from last weekend. Not from last year or last month, from over the weekend. And then come to me and just say, same as a guy driving fast, same as a guy with a foot. That's where I think we're not balancing that just right. Hello, Stephen.
Please be on my side, Stephen.
Yes, I am. What's up?
Yes. What's up?
All right. I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was saying, or after yesterday, I was saying to him, when was the last time the Flyers had won a draft? Because I thought they won the draft. I mean, one of the winners, I should say. When was the last time you think that the Flyers actually won a draft? Because it's been probably since before I was born.
They're getting national attention for sure for what they did. I think they landed Cutter Gauthier last year, which was fantastic, but it wasn't the same takeaway as what we saw yesterday.
There's no win yet.
Well, just in regards to the day
I know,
after,
I'm just
there's
saying,
a reaction, and to say to win the draft is fair.
Win the reaction.
Well,
Okay.
I would say day one. I mean, the rest of the day, I don't really follow that much, but like day one, obviously, I thought they were a winner. Because, I mean, you got Matvei Michkov, who I think his floor is Kirill Kaprizov, and his ceiling is Ovechkin.
If he's Kaprizov, which a lot of people are mentioning, that's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. But, yeah, I think I just think, that was the best thing that could have happened to them in a while. I mean, I would have been fine with Ryan Leonard, with no doubt.
Me too.
But with Michkov, I mean, to have him fall to your lap like that, I mean...
Hold on, Stephen. You keep talking about his play. What if he can't make it over here? That was the USSR anthem.
And by the way, none of us had any problem with his play.
What if he can't get over here due to the geopolitical issues? Then how do you feel if the number 7 overall pick, it never plays for you?
Obviously disappointing and just brings.
Did you win? But hold on, Stephen. Did you win the draft then?
I mean, right now I'm just
No. This is not the same as a Swede or a Canadian kid that's just a scrappy kid from Medicine Hat looking to come to the NHL. This is some real stuff. There's rumors even about the guy's poor father. This is real stuff. What if he doesn't play for the Flyers? Then is it awesome?
It's not awesome. I'll answer that for you, Stephen.
Thanks for the call.
It would not be awesome if that's the case.
Well,
but
then,
the alternative is, if he does play and he's electric like we think he is, it was great. And it's worth the risk. The reward is worth the risk.
Oh, no, it's not.
Well, how not?
Because my guy, Dvorsky, if you score, I'd rather have 30 goals, which he's going to score perennially.
Oh, my God.
Versus 50 goals in the KHL. I'd rather have 30 goals for my team.
He is playing for your team. You're leaving that part out. What if he's Kaprizov, who's killing it in Minnesota right now?
You mean in Russia he is?
No, Kaprizov had 47 goals 2 years ago and 40 last year. He could be Kaprizov.
40, the second year.
47 to 40?
It'll drop down, about be down to 35
you
next
are
year.
a tough grader,
40,
my friend.
33, then it'll be 27.
You're tough. You're tough.
I like having 40 every year, me personally. I like 45, 50 every year.
You're unreal.
I'm like John Leclerc will score 50 every year. That's what I like, 50 every year.
Dude, you should see some of his goals, though. Whoo, top of the circle, quick snapshot, fire and twine.
Why are you getting excited about something 3 years from now?
Because it's going to change the franchise.
In 3 years?
Yeah, you should see his puck. He has the puck on his stick, drives wide, goes to the net hard. It's all fantastic stuff. You should see this. I'm telling you, it's unreal. I can't stop watching it.
Okay.